Don't move whatever you do. Nice. There we go. Good job.
Georgia, are you going to put them
Let's have a moment. Nice.
No.
Can I have thy seat now, Mary? Is that all right?
Yes.
Right. Well, it is.
I cleaned that today.
We were at Winton on the weekend trying to sell raffle tickets, right? Who comes from the country? Anyone here? Where do you come from?
Yarraglen.
It's a little country. Yeah. From the country way, yeah?
Ebony does.
Dad lives near Mansfield.
Mansfield, that's up there, yeah?
I used to live in Seville.
What? Yeah, okay, I hear ya.
My grandmother lives a bit further up from Bensdale.
There we go, we're getting out there. Georgia.
I lived in America for...
Numurkah. I bought a bus from Numurkah. No, place I love. Yep.
My grandma's in Stall.
Store. They have the gift down there. I used to wonder what the gift was. Apparently it's running. I don't know how that's a gift. I mean, Beck would disagree, but I don't know how that's a gift. You know?
My Kyle lives in Gordon.
Where'd that be?
It's Gordon and it's like half an hour from Ballarat, but it's in the country. It's like Devon.
I used to live in Seville.
I lived in Sylvan. People used to say to me, that's the country. Even Lilydale used to be called the country, you know? Alexandra?
I used to live in Bensdale.
Bansdale, that's rocking.
My cousin lives in Bendigo.
Bendigo, it's good.
My friend's nan lives in Marysville.
Marysville.
I have family in Queens.
In where? Queens?
Queens.
Queens, where's that?
It's an hour from Ballarat.
Right, loving it.
I did live in Bright for a while.
Bright. They have a bright something up there. Brighter days. It's a market or something I think they have. Is it? Is that a yeah.
I had family who used to live in Grasspatch, which is...
Is that fair? We're on camera. That's maybe true.
WA, it's about a 8-hour drive from Perth.
So it's in WA. So a big shout out to our friends in WA. Yep. They're talking about Grass Patch, by the way, Dwayne. You'd know where that is, yeah?
My uncle lived in WA in Perth.
WA in Perth? WA is the state.
Yeah, Perth.
Oh, Perth. All right, another shout out. Got a couple of people over here, foreigners from Perth. Yep. Anybody else? Yeah, well, I was in Winton. And it was 2.5 hours in the car, and it was cold, man. I don't know. My raffle tickets were frozen. You know, I was frozen. A lot of cars up there, but what we did get to see was some amazing. They did racing up there of older cars, older style racing cars. It was quite phenomenal. In the car park, you could walk through the car park and get to see eras, you know, like 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and then they went right up. There's a whole section of what they call vintage cars. You know, those old things, the crank starter things with the horn, and you know, they were fantastic, and they did them around the track at some point. They didn't go so fast, but they were still cool. Yeah, did someone have a question? Yeah.
I used to go with my dad to Winton to watch him race the supercar.
There you go. So it's a pretty popular place. There was lots of people there. Thanks for having us, by the way, Noel. Could have told me I needed Arctic gear, but whatever. So the challenge for us tonight is we're going to be talking about career pathways. Now, that for some of us, it's like, I say, what? You know, and this is the fourth and last part of the BCubed series that we've been working on. Who remembers what Becca was talking about last week? Yeah.
Schooling and stuff, how she did, how she proper schooling that she did.
Yep. School she had, and what was the other one? Life school. I'm a life school person. I also believe in school, you know, and somebody said to me, do you have mentors in your life? And there was a day where I had one mentor in my life. Now I have multiple mentors. You know, and so some of them are face-to-face. Some of them I will probably never meet in my entire life, but I look at their resources. I love videos and sort of online podcasts and things like that. Have become a bit of a reader, you know, but I don't get a lot of time to sit and read, but I can sit and listen. So if I'm in my car, it's not good to read and drive, just saying. You know, it's just the next step down from texting and driving. So if you've got a big novel and I've seen Mary with a big novel, you know, like Cosmopolitan or something. She was driving along with Cosmo.
Sounds like something I would do.
Hey?
Sounds like something I would do.
I'm not going in your car, right?
I've got a question about that.
About which?
What you just before.
Right.
The phones and
Oh, okay. It's going to be relevant. Yeah, okay, keep going. Quick, let's go. Come on, let's go. Talk to me.
So, Moo
And I'm pretty sure our friends, when we were going like a bit of, I don't know, on our bus and stuff, our bus driver would just sit there playing on his phone, playing games. So,
While he's driving?
yeah, so what all the kids would do is just go this, and we'd talk playing games in the bus, and he'd be like, kids, what do you think you're doing?
What bus line is that? No, never mind. I don't want to name them on. I don't want to name them, but I want to shame them online when people around the world are watching us.
Take Pokemon too.
All right, so the challenge for us is sometimes we actually don't know what we want to do. I went and saw the next episode of the Pirates of the Caribbean on the weekend. Anybody seen it? Dead Men Tell Me Tales. If you have not seen it, do yourself a favour. Who's gone and seen King Arthur?
Oh, I want it.
I want to see it.
He is so a honey. Just saying. Oh, Jax, man, come on. He looks totally buff and hot in that. You know, you've got to go and see it just for a good eye candy. You know, but the reality is, these. I was watching Jack Sparrow. One of the things that happens through the Pirates of the Caribbean, he has a particular device that he has with him all the time, or most of the time. What is it?
Compass.
Yes. And what does the compass tell him?
Points to north usually, but that's not it. It points to like this Pirate Cove thing.
Beck's going to have the answer to me.
It points to what he wants.
It
Oh, yeah,
points.
I forgot about that.
It points to what he wants the most.
Right.
And that can change from one day to the next with Jack Sparrow, you know, depending on where he is in his life. And sometimes we're a bit like that in our pathway through schooling, through life, and when our parents or teachers or whoever say to us, what do you want to do? What do you want to study? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? And it's a bit like opening, Jack Sparrow's compass and it just spinning. And it can feel like that. It can feel like sometimes we have no clue where we're going, what we're doing with our life, whether this is that. And we get a lot of pressure, you know. If you don't make something of your life, you know, and, if you don't do something with your life, you don't choose a career, if you don't stay at school, if you don't get an education. And the thing I loved about last week, as Beck was sharing, was that whole idea of school, the formal education process, and then life school. I've got friends right now that are, I think, you might be online tonight, Donna, if you are. Happy birthday. I think I missed it the other day. Sorry, love you. I think they're in Dubai or somewhere, and they take their kids and they travel all the time, and they're having their kids doing life school. So they do the formal education with them, but they're teaching them life school. And I just love that. They're showing them things around the world that they would never get to see, and it's growing their brain. It's growing their experiences, and they're talking about experiences at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old that some of us may never see in our entire life. And I think that there is a real incredible part. So often nowadays what happens is when you, sometimes you can come out of high school, VCE, whatever, and you might go to uni for a year, and then you take a gap year. And if you get a chance, to work for a year, potentially when you leave school, and then travel, just do it, man. Just do it. Nobody encouraged me when I was that age. I started working when I was 15 and a half. And I never had parents that said to me, travel through Europe and backpack. It just didn't exist. It didn't exist from the way it exists now, with backpacking places all over the world and people that we know all over the world. And people we can get to know, we can go and stay there. Accommodation is so cheap and flights are so cheap. Yeah, Ella's been on Kentucky and travelled and said, take me back, because you begin to, I was talking with a friend this morning, you began to talk about, what was the name of the islands, Becca, that he talked about today? Do you remember the name?
Oh, yeah, it's in Italy, the Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre. If you've never been there, get there. It's blue water, cliff, and the cities are built on the side of the cliff, and they're all white. Fantastic. And he walked from city to city or town to town over the mountains with his wife. Fantastic. I'm going there.
Stop it!
I saw the photos. Cool, let's be cool. I saw the photos of the places that he went and what he did, and it was with his wife, and it was fascinating to see. And he educated us on where he went enough for me to feel excited about going there. So the challenge for us is quite simply this. You can either be a person that does formal education, and that's great. I was talking to a business person this week, and they said to me this. They said, if my son does not get a good education, he won't be able to achieve anything in his life. Is that true? No. Well, there's plenty of contradictions to that, isn't there? There's plenty in our life. I mean, the Virgin Empire was be cool, just let it go outside. It's all right, just relax. Nice, just sit down there, Mary, you'll be right. little lie down. Mary's just having a little lie down on the beanbag here for a second.
I don't want to lie.
That's cute. So the challenge for us is quite simply is we can feel like that education's the most important thing. While it is important because it grows your brain, because otherwise you just speak out of your own experiences, and that can be challenging. Because you have an experience somewhere and you think to yourself, this is life, and it might actually not be balanced. I'm so glad you can't see what's going on in front of me on camera, just saying, you know, there's only 500 people watching us online, you know, so it's, you know. So the challenge for us is there's this whole idea, and we educate when we go into schools now, we educate people on one life, many careers. All right, we just need to take a moment and be calm, all right? The leaders will take care of what's going on outside, okay? Just trust the leaders, all right?
Not smiling because that.
Everyone look back at me, and that includes you lot, right? Yeah. So, okay. So, one life, many careers. And that can seem like a bit of a buckshot approach. You know, when you shoot a shotgun, if you've ever shot one, it comes out with all these little pellets. You know, now some people are really focused. Some people are like a sniper. They're just like so focused on where they're going and what they're doing. I've met people from their young time, when they're teenagers, 12, 13, 14 years old. They are so focused on where they're going and what they're doing, they remain true. I remember meeting a guy in high school. He wanted to be a rocket scientist. And that was kind of like geeky. Now it's cool, you know. And so it's amazing how things change. But he stayed focused and he became a rocket scientist. Brilliant. Invented little robot things that could open your can of Coke if you wanted it to, you know, just with your phone. Stuff like that, amazing. The guy we had speak at our business breakfast could program his bionic arm through his iPhone, you know, what it could do. He could learn to play guitar by programming the iPhone to play guitar, and away you go. I thought, I want a sew hand like that, you know, and then, you know, it would be cool. But anyway, so the challenge for us is sometimes one life, many careers, but what isn't? It's a bit like Jack Sparrow's compass. All of a sudden, sometimes we don't even know what our heart wants. So we have a go at this and a go at this and a go at this and a go at this, and there's this saying that goes around. It says, a jack of all trades, master of none. Now, that used to be a negative thing, because that's my world. I know I've got qualifications, but there's a thing in my world where I've had a whole lot of experiences, and I would say to people, oh yeah, we were talking about it in our pack last week, and I wrote down on the form, they said, oh, what would you like to do? And I said, helicopter pilot. Yeah. Helicopter pilot, that would be the coolest. Who's been on a helicopter? Aren't they the rat? He's been on the little bubble nose front ones, you know what I call them, dragonflies, I think they call them. Yeah, they are. I remember going on one of those with my wife at Daydream Island, and it was a fantastic experience for me. Not so much for her. The sick bag became her favourite friend, you know. And so while we were listening to the and I said to the pilot, just drop down there. So what does he do? Drop down there, and all of a sudden, you know, I just heard this. Poor bugger. It took about 5 days to recover, you know. But I had a ball. I got off there, went fishing. She outed the burley, you know. So it was a terrific moment, you know. But there's experiences like that. I thought that convinced me. I've got a mate who was a helicopter pilot in the north. Used to round up brumbies and cows and stuff. Cool. Just cool things. Just add that to who you are. So never say no to something that's an opportunity that comes past you when it comes to that. Because just being a jack of all trades can actually increase you as a person. That might be just who you are. You might just think the compass today is pointing that way. And that's how you're wired, and that's how you're meant to actually live your life. You're meant to be like that. And people who come into your world will love that about you, or they won't. So what do you do with those people? You throw them over the side. Yeah. So you say bye-bye. You know, you say see you later, I'm moving on, because you'll attract the people to you that actually love that about you. So here's the challenge. I get young people, a lot of you here, actually ask me to be references for you. I've got young people who have been, I've been references for 15 years, 20 years. They still ring me or text me and say, by the way, I've put you down as my reference. You know, they're going for a house loan, or they're going for, you know, another job or something like that. Now, there are some people that I will not be a referee for, because there's a couple of things at play when you put your reputation on the line. So I'm a jack of all trades, and I'm a master of a couple of them, you know, because I don't have enough time in my life to master them all, you know, but I'm a master of some things. And one thing I do like to master is your credibility. Is as a person, regardless of whether you get certificates after your name, your integrity and your credibility are two things that follow you all the days of your life. And your credibility can be gone like that in a moment. You can spend your whole life building your cred, and it can be gone in a bad decision just like that. I've experienced that too. I've made some bad decisions in my life, and I've suffered the consequences for that and had to rebuild. So, let me give you some tips on how to prepare for a career that's heading your way. Georgia, other room if we can, Dale, if that continues. Thank you, darling. It's just distracting everybody else. I'll keep ploughing through. Thank you, darling. Right. So, you come to me and you say this to me. Phil, can you take my resume and can you hand that out to your network? What's the first thing I'm going to do?
Say no.
Well, no, I don't often say no. Yeah.
You read it.
I'm going to read over it. Because I'm a boss. I've employed people for 30 years. I know what that's like, yeah?
And you'll go through it with them.
Yeah, hopefully I'll go through it with them, because sometimes I just giggle at it, you know. A friend of mine put out an ad for a staff member the other day, and a resume came back, hundreds of them came back, a cover letter came back, dear, let's say Paul, dear Paul, pick me for the job. Let's say his name is Fred. That was the cover letter. Now I know none of you, if you ever give me a cover letter that looks like that, I'll cut your left arm off. So had to be careful. Nearly got caught on camera saying something inappropriate. Like I'd never do that. So the challenge for us is simply, if you're going to write a cover letter to go for a job and wonder why you're not getting a job, here's a tip. I say this to our advanced class in our school all the time. If you're going to go out somewhere, if you're going to be interviewed by someone, you better find out about that company. So find out before you go out. Everyone say that. Find out before you go out. Right, say it again. Find out before you go out. Right, so the challenge for us is quite simply, Google is awesome. You want to go for a job somewhere, well, actually find out whether they're employing, for one, and number two, find out about their business. Because when you go for your interview, when you craft a letter, if you use the language that they've got written on their website or on their Facebook page, then you will be able to craft it in a way that will catch their attention. But if you just go and write your cover letter or your resume the way that you speak and find out why you don't get a job, that's why you don't get a job. Because you're not using the language that connects with the person who's interviewing you. And you say, well, I just want to be me. You either want a job or you don't, you know? So you better write the language that speaks to the person you're trying to communicate with. So right now, here's a hot tip for you. A friend of mine gave me advice a couple of years ago. If you're ever going to learn a language, learn Chinese. So I'm on a mission at the moment to learn Chinese. So, you know, I say, I come in here and I say that, and you have no clue what I even just said. And well, you've got to learn Chinese. Yeah. You nod. No, don't nod at that one. So the challenge is, no, my Chinese friends, I love you. That was meant nothing at all. You know, so I watched a movie on the weekend. Who cares? It was another movie. It was that one where they forget it. They spoke Chinese. Anyway, so the fact is, I'm going to learn Chinese. And the reason for that is that there are more people globally that are influenced by the Chinese than ever before. I love that. I'm going to learn Chinese. The second language I'm adding to my quiver this year is sign language. And I don't mean that kind of sign language. That was all my fingers up. Did you not see them? That was a magic trick, you know. So it was just out of camera shot too. I love you. I was doing thumbs up if you didn't see that. So the challenge... I told you I was going to be inappropriate on camera. But, you know, the reality is this. If you do not learn to speak the language of the career pathway that you're heading down, you will never even get a look in. So it is important, so critical, that you guys, as you begin to look at what would I like to do for this next season of my life. It doesn't mean, my parents, you got a job and you stayed in that job to the day you retired. That was kind of it. There was something when I was growing up, I was like, nah, I'm kind of get a bit bored of that. Now my boys, they're changing jobs like all the time. That doesn't make them a bad worker or unreliable. It makes them a person they're vast in their experiences. So don't ever see that as a negative, because sometimes it's a bit like Jack Sparrow trying to find our way. And that's okay. You can probably stuff around a little bit until you're 25, 26, 27. Just sort of spin that 30-ish. So I say to my boys, you can stuff around like this, finding your way, spinning the compass until you're around your sort of 25. Then start to kind of get a bit of a feel for where you might want to stay for another season. That doesn't mean their lifetime. Because this generation does not work. They don't work to live. They don't live to work. You know, and that was sort of my parents. They live to work. I've got to get up, I've got to do the thing, I've got responsibilities. Now, it's about working to have life and do life to earn money so you can go and travel. That's a wonderful thing to be doing. Wonderful. And you might do 3, 4, 5 degrees along the way. Because that's your mind. Your mind is wired, and you will be an experienced person, not just in what you do in life, but in your mind. You'll have intelligence that can add value to people along the way because you did the study along the way too, which is quite wonderful. Here's a couple of tips for you. If no one ever knows this, we do run a night here. I don't know when it is, sometime in the year. We run a night here. It's about how to write a resume. Last year we brought Susie Burrows in, and Susie and I ran that night. Some of you came to that night and have done nothing about that, you know, and paid no attention to it, you know. Now, I'm not looking at you. I did do something about that. It's okay, right? Because that's just life. People just take your information and then, you know, or whatever, or they'll use it. That's okay. So we write that. We run that night once a year. And when we teach you how to write a cover letter, and we bring business people in to actually look at your cover letter and look at your resume and go, it doesn't speak the language that it needs to speak, and you struggle with getting a job. And I don't care if it's a part-time job, a casual job, or a full-time job, or a career. I don't care. There's a language that people speak. And you have to learn the language that they're speaking if you want to get that kind of job. So here's the thing. Couple of things for you just to remember. The number one thing that you need to remember when going for a job is grooming. Grooming. If you look and smell nasty, already you're experiencing a blocker. Now, I'm not talking about not being who you are, but I am talking about maybe pulling that back a little bit while you go for the interview. You can express yourself when you're not at work, all right? But if you want a job, you've got to look a certain way, because remember, the people employing are from my generation and older. So they have a certain way. It's how you hold yourself in the way of like how you present, how you speak. A friend of mine this week said to me, Phil, I've got a job available. I said, oh, okay. He said, I've probably got multiple jobs, but I've got a job available. Anybody that you recommend, I'll employ. Probably a bloke, because it's heavy lifting. Probably a bloke, but it can be a girl. I'm equal opportunist. And and he says, have you got anyone? I need someone. Whoever you say right now, I'll employ them. What did I say?
No.
I said,
Maybe.
maybe. I said, maybe. I'll have to go and have a think about it and think who I could recommend. Why do I have to think about who I'm going to recommend? Bless you. Why do I have to think about it? Yeah.
You're just going on your credibility.
Got it. What are the two things I said right at the start? Yeah, credibility. And I forgot the other one. Watch the video back. You know, so, pardon? Integrity. Integrity and your, what? Reputation. Yeah, credibility. So I've got to be careful. So I am so cool. Here's a couple of opportunities, right? Got a guy say to me, this last week, I got a position for a mechanic, got a position for an in the air conditioning industry, and another one as a farm hand. That was just this last week. Someone wants work on their farm. That's 3 jobs. Anybody want them?
Yep, that's it.
I'm on the farm.
Better listen to what I just said. I know. So you've got to send me your resume.
I have it.
You do. I don't take paper resumes. Nobody takes paper resumes. I've got some handed in to me. If you don't send it to me electronically, hot tip, don't send it to me. Why? Because there's 100 of you in the room. I'm not going to carry 100 resumes around, am I? And I can carry one flash drive, or I can keep on my phone, and I can just forward the email if I think it's any good. We're not going to carry paper. We don't do paper. Eventually you do paper, but if you can't even get through the door yet, paper means nothing. So, there's a couple of things. Here's another caution. I have scanned some of your Facebook pages coming into tonight. I've got to tell you, I wouldn't employ you. I wouldn't employ you. There is some scary sugar honey iced tea that is in your Facebook pages that that I wouldn't employ you. And every employer that I know scans your Facebook page. Everyone I know, everyone I speak to scans your Facebook page. If you don't have Facebook, whew, lucky you. You know, because business owners are trying to find out if they're going to invest in you and give you a career. What are you saying when you're not at work? That doesn't mean you can't put there the photo, the movies you went to and all that sort of stuff. I had a friend of mine who was loved the nightclub scene and loved to go to certain nights of the nightclub scene that was fairly exposing, you know. And those photos are on their Facebook page. Now, they've deleted them from their Facebook page. The problem is, the minute a friend of theirs liked that photo or was tagged in it, it's gone over to their Facebook page, and now it sits on the internet forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
So, here's the thing. You have to manage what you write on your Facebook page. I have to constantly, every day, I have 2 Facebook pages and I am really clear on what goes on both of them. There are things that you guys put on your Facebook page that is awesome, that I sit there hovering over the like button, thinking, if I like this, so I do like a lot of the stuff you put up. If I do like this, what will happen?
Okay.
So, the challenge is for us is if I like certain things on your page, credibility is on the edge right then. So there's dozens of things that I see you guys put on your Facebook page, I go, totally cool. But I'll only ever like, and it's not about whether I like it or not, I'm just cautious of what I have to like for the people who are going to ask me questions. And then, if I want to refer you to an employer, they're going to make sure that whatever I'm referring, they're okay with me referring. They're going to trust that. So the challenge in your packs tonight is quite simply this. We're going to give you one more sheet. This is the serious sheet, right? This sheet, right, at the top here it says, what do I want to do? What do you want to do in your life? Now, I don't mean your life as in by the time you're 90. I mean for this next season. You might want to be a painter. You might want to be a muso. You might want to be a magician. You know, you might want to be an archaeologist. You know, just saying, you might. By the way, if there's anyone out there that has got a job for an archaeologist, I've got a young lady sitting in this room. She's a gun. I'll tell you what, by the end of the night, I want you to Facebook message me or text me tonight before. If you know someone that can use an archaeologist, I'd love you to speak to this young girl. There you go, free plug for you. Yeah? All right, that's how we do it. Now, you don't know this, but our Facebook page now, this live feed goes right around the world. We've got people all around the world right now watching Bridge Builders. We've mapped it, we track it. There's people in China and America and South something, whatever they call that place over there with all the sand. You know, so here's the challenge. Where am I now? Where am I now? And you might write in there, stuck. The Bridge Builders, you know, yeah, not Lilydale, you know, but where are you now, you know, as in POV, you might write in there POV, stuck, you know, you might be a mummy, you might be a dad you don't know about, you know, you might be, just saying it happens. That's my third strike, I'm sure, you know. And what do I have to do? You might write in there, I need to find someone that can help me. I might find someone that I want to get into this industry. If you don't write that in here, none of the resources of Bridge Builders can get behind you, and the movement of Bridge Builders can't help you achieve that if you don't write this down. Because all the sheets that we've done over the past few weeks are going to be compiled, and all the leaders are going to go through them and assess how we can help every single young person that comes into the life of Bridge Builders in some way. Now that might take us 12 months to figure out, to come into the right people. We might need to do little ads on our live feed like that. But that's the 3 sections that I want you to fill out tonight, because we're compiling it all to help you achieve your goal, your plan, your ambitions. Now, what we need is a little bit of patience, right? Because sometimes right now, we know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So it might be 3 or 4 tiers out, and you might think, well, I'm 12, I'm 14. What do I know? Well, just think about the next season for yourself for a moment. By the time you graduate school, that's only a couple of years. So if you're 16, it's only 700 days till you pass, until you're out of school. And then you've probably got about 90 days of each of those. There's probably got 180 days that you're on holidays of those 700 days. So there's not a lot of minutes left. I think we quoted the other week, there's 20 million seconds left in the year. There's probably only about 18 million left. What have you done with the 2 million seconds that just passed in the past couple of weeks? So tonight, just in closing, is quite simply, there in this room and online, there are people. If you have not filled it out, come into Bridge Builders, we'll give you the form, you fill it out, we'll put an aspirational plan together. We want to make sure that at the end of this year, you feel like your entire life, whether it's your finance, whether it's your health, or whether it's just your life in yourself, has taken a step forward. We talked about this, and Jordan raised this in the leadership class. I always talk about the 1 degree. If I could just tweak your life this year, or the leadership team could tweak your life just 1 click today, by the time you get 6 months down the track, you will be in a totally different place than you were if you didn't change direction. And it takes 1 click. So the career pathway for you tonight is quite simply, you might be sick and tired of the way your life's at. You might feel like the compass is just spinning. My encouragement to you tonight is just write down what might be the 1 click. If you don't know what the 1 click might be, you say, I have no idea, talk to your pack leader. Maybe talk amongst your pack. Don't get caught up in the silliness of pack tonight. Get serious with one another, and maybe you will have something to say to one of your friends in your pack that could actually alter their life. If you listened to what your pack people are saying, they might all of a sudden say something, you go, well, my uncle's one of those. My auntie knows someone. My mum, my dad, my brother, my sister. All of a sudden, that 1 degree, boom, and your life is altered. So I want to encourage you. The leadership team is totally pumped and excited about what we're doing with you guys for this next sort of 6 months to help. Our mission right now is to help change the life of every young person that comes into the life of Bridge Builders in a real way. And that's no BS. That's how it is. BCubed right there. You know, it's about taking that. Remember, I had the Rubik's Cube. It's about that one face. Now it's about adding all the other colours in and making it outstanding. We're so excited about this journey. And so, guys, when you go into the packs tonight, don't get caught up in all the fluff and bubble. Just get straight into this. Write it down. Start talking about it, and get amongst it. If you haven't signed up for the tin rattle on the weekend, get on it. Love you guys. Be cool.